Welcome to the Film Geezers podcast. Hello, welcome to the Film Geezers podcast. I'm Robbo. I'm joined as always by Cheeto.
Hello.
And today we're going to do something that we've never done before. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, we apologise. It's called Wheel of Genres.
Yep.
My lovely assistant Cheeto is going to spin the wheel, and he's going to land on a genre, and we're going to pick some of our favourite films from that genre. So, like I said, this is completely unrehearsed, completely unscripted. So we're going blind with no safety net.
Just jump straight in, yeah?
There, go
right,
on.
okay.
Jump straight in.
So I'm spinning the wheel. And the first genre is horror.
Horror.
So what is your favourite horror film of all time?
Well, you know that I love the classic Universal horror films.
Yeah.
We were talking about the other day when there was the question, which cinematic universe would you want to live in? And I chose the Universal Monster Universe.
Yeah.
But I've got to admit that probably my favourite horror film, and it's probably been mentioned so many times before, is The Thing.
Yeah.
I just think it's like when it came out, everyone knows it came out, it bombed at the box office, but it since has been reevaluated. But I loved it from the minute I saw it.
I'm so sorry, but mine is also The
Is
Thing.
it?
I hate to be boring, but come on, it is the best horror movie ever made.
I thought you would have gone for Halloween. I thought that was your kind of favourite film.
Nah, The Thing,
right.
100%.
Just I don't know what it is about it. It's just the isolated place. It's very suspenseful.
Yeah.
It's very atmospheric. It's very claustrophobic. You got this group of people who, they anybody could be the thing. So it creates suspicion amongst them.
Paranoia as well.
Yeah, paranoia.
And that leaks into you as well, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah.
And
I think the physical effects,
are the best.
Sorry, practical effects.
Practical, are just legendary, aren't
brilliant, they? Yeah. I know you could do it a lot easier now with CGI, but I think
when they're done right, just practical effects look so much better than CGI, don't they?
They do,
and you can the work that's put into them as well. But I totally agree. I think The Thing is the best horror movie ever made, and also one of the best endings ever made as well, wasn't it?
We've covered it on a previous podcast, best ending ever made, where you've got just these two guys waiting to die, not knowing which one, or could it be one of them or both of them is the thing, and it's just a brilliant suspenseful ending.
Because it's also it's a very suspenseful film, but it's also it kind of dabbles in the shock horror almost, just seeing like what the thing does to like someone's body, or when the thing changes from a human.
And you got the jump scares where the doc's actually giving the guy
CPR,
and his chest opens up, and then you've got like when McCready's testing the blood, and he's going through, and like each one, it's not the thing, and then he's starting to doubt himself then, and then suddenly
the blood spat. That's probably one of the best, most iconic scenes in the film, isn't it? And a great score as well, which always comes with a John Carpenter film. But 100%, definitely.
Any notable?
I think Evil Dead 2, even though that's also a bit of a comedy horror, I think that's absolutely amazing for its budget. I think for a film that scared the shit out of both of us, Amityville Horror, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because you watch a horror film to have those feelings of horror, and that certainly does give you things of horror. And like you said, with all the old Universal horrors, but it's just there's just something about The Thing that is just so uncomfortable, and it puts you there, really, doesn't it?
It does.
In the research facility, but 100%, and that's why. Sorry to be boring, we both got the same answer. I'm sure that's probably one of the only ones where we got the same answer. Right, if I remove that.
Okay, let's spin the wheel again.
And Christmas movie.
Well, this is going to spoil our Christmas episode, but I love A Christmas Carol. So I love all the from the 1951 Scrooge to the 70s Frank Finlay musical, even the George C. Scott one. Now, I think Scrooge, the 51, is the definitive version of it, but my favourite, it's got to be Muppet Christmas Carol. It's just something about that. Yeah. It's just, I mean, my era, I grew up with the Muppets in the sort of late 70s and 80s, and you couple that with Michael Caine.
Yeah, Michael Caine and Scrooge, mate.
I mean, yeah, what more do you want?
But I know it's a tradition in our household, isn't it?
Every year. Every Christmas Eve.
Every Christmas Eve we try and watch it, yeah.
But there's other one. I mean, I watched Klaus for the first time the other day, and that's a really... I enjoyed that film.
Yeah.
Really... It did make a grown man cry.
We're not going to say which grown man, are we?
But it's lots of... I mean, there's Scrooged...
yeah, Scrooge is good.
And I know what yours is, so I'm not going to mention it. So I'm going to let you choose yours.
Mine is Jingle All the Way.
Put the cookie down.
I just love it because it's just such like a feel-good movie, and it's just, I don't know why, it's just so funny seeing the Terminator just go around for a Turbo Man doll for his kids, you know what I mean? And it's such a different movie for Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was during that run of like family films. He was, he's trying to. Obviously, he was going to run for governor a couple of years later. I think he was trying to have that family-friendly image, and it's just him and Sinbad battling it out for a Turbo Man doll. And it's very, to be fair, it captures the very realism of, I don't know, maybe nowadays because it's more online, but of that shopping craze you do get if there's a new toy.
It's kind of mirrors. I think it was the 80s with Cabbage Patch dolls.
Yeah,
and they were sold out, and literally people were fighting over it.
And it does mirror that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But no, it's just such a good film, and it's one I try and watch every single year. And another honourable mention for me is Gremlins, because I grew up watching that. I absolutely love Gremlins.
Yeah.
Is there any others you've got?
Well, now it is a Christmas film, Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard. Yeah.
Which we're actually going to go watch in the cinema.
Yeah.
So we're going to get.
And we're seeing it in December, so
it's a Christmas film.
And the what is the unofficial theme to it is Let It Snow, isn't it? So. Got a problem with that, then turn off now.
No, don't.
No, please. Right, so very good.
Okay, let's spin the wheel.
Right, we're spinning it. The next one is science fiction.
Science fiction, right. Well, probably, I think I probably know what yours is, but there's a couple that spring to mind. Alien.
Yeah.
But I would say that my favourite is Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Got to be, I think. Again, another film that bombed when it came out, but since has been reevaluated. Like I said, I watched it recently, and each time I forget what a great film it is.
Yeah.
Just a brilliant film, brilliant performances from main characters, and the speech at the end, which is a really sad ending, actually.
It is, yeah. Which cut are you referring to?
I'm talking about.
I believe it's the
director's.
Yeah,
cut.
I believe it's the director's cut. With that's the Roy Batty at the end, isn't it? Yeah.
Tears in Rain speech, and it turns out that the bad guy, which actually isn't bad, he's good.
Yeah.
So,
and because it plays on like certain themes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because they're perceived to be bad. But like you said, they just want to live, don't they?
Yeah, they're just doing what everybody wants to do is survive.
The only time they've killed or harmed people is because they've tried to survive, haven't they? That's the only reason. What did you think was mine?
I thought you would have gone for Interstellar.
Because I have.
Being a Nolan geek. Yeah,
I have. Yeah, I just think, like, I always say this, but the film I wish I saw in the cinema, and I was old enough to see it, is Interstellar, because it's just a film fit perfectly, and I don't mind Matthew McConaughey more. There's actors I prefer more, there's actors I prefer less than him, and obviously this is right slap bang in the middle of the reconnaissance. You know, he just was off his Oscar win, and it's got the best. I say this now. It's a 7-year-old film. And it's still got the best visual effects I've ever seen. It won so many Oscars for all, not necessarily the big five. It won all the other back backroom, Oscars, and I can't imagine how long they took to render this film, because it was just, the visual effects are absolutely amazing, and many scientists have come out and said that's the realist portrayal of what space looks like, or what a black hole looks like, and it's a very sad story, but it's got a bit of sweet ending. But like I said, it's just, it's one of those movies when once you've finished, you just have to sit back and you have to collect yourself, don't you, for a second, because you realise you've just watched a brilliant film. And yeah, I'd even put it in the masterpiece category for me personally, or modern masterpiece category, because it is that good, and also a brilliant score by Hans Zimmer as well, which just heightens it. But yeah, 100% Interstellar is my favourite sci-fi film. Obviously, like you said, Alien is up there. Yeah. I think that deserves a shout, but yeah, there's loads of brilliant sci-fi films.
People would say, why not Star Wars? But I don't consider Star Wars.
No, I don't consider Star Wars. No,
that's more of a fantasy, space opera, isn't it? I guess genre.
Yeah. I've never considered that sci-fi.
Any notable film? The Martian, maybe.
Yeah.
Gravity. 100%. You've seen Gravity?
Yeah, seen Gravity. Also, Moon is brilliant. Moon is a brilliant film. I'm surprised you haven't seen it, because it's a huge Sam Rockwell fan.
I don't know. It's
one of those films I never even heard of, and I just put it on because I knew it was highly regarded. Yeah, and I just put it on, and it's a weird film, but it's amazing. Yeah,
it's on my list again of long list of films.
Right. Any more before we move on? What about all the old classic sci-fi?
I don't know. Would you consider Planet of the Apes? Would you consider that science fiction? I guess. Yeah,
it could be. Yeah.
Obviously, I love that film.
You could even consider Creature of the Black Lagoon like a sci-fi horror.
I guess so. Yeah.
All those classics, But yeah, no, it's definitely a favourite genre of ours, isn't it? Sci-fi. Right, on to the next one. If you haven't got anything else,
let's spin the wheel and see where it lands.
Right, epic.
Oh.
It's not a genre that's huge today, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, back obviously years ago, you had like Ben-Hur, and these big sort of biblical, 10 Commandments, and that gets shown every Easter, and Christmas. But I think probably Lawrence of Arabia. Probably.
I knew you were going to say that.
I think at 3 hours, it can be considered an epic.
Oh
can it?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it is. I mean, we discussed David Lean in our last podcast as being one of the great directors, and I just think that is his sort of crowning achievement. I think it's just beautifully shot film. I think it's a director's film, isn't it?
Yeah, really? 100%.
And just the camera work and everything is just beautiful. Obviously, you've got a great desert backdrop. And there's the scene involving when Lawrence first meets Sheriff Ali. He's a speck in the distance, and he gradually gets closer and closer. They actually built a lens for that, just for that shot. That's only ever been used in that film.
Oh wow! Shot. I did not know that. That's amazing, isn't it?
It is. But I don't know. I think it's
got every element you want.
It's got adventure. It's got drama. It's got war. It's got battles. So I think it's just, and obviously for Peter O'Toole's debut film.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Performance.
He was absolutely robbed of the Academy Award that year. But 100%. And it's got a great soundtrack as well, doesn't it? It's got one of the most iconic themes of all time as well. So 100%. I think you'll probably already know mine. Well, mine is Ridley Scott's Gladiator.
Yeah, it might be.
I know this always turns up in any of my lists, but I just love the movie, and I've really had a fond appreciation of it in the last couple of years. It was always a film I used to grow up watching, but I didn't really understand it much. But I'd say it's a lot more than an epic. I don't know, it's just. You start off with a huge battle, and that just sets the tone for it. But it's about redemption throughout the whole film. You know, this guy Maximus, who's a general, he's been betrayed and his family killed, and it's his story about he doesn't care about anything anymore, only about killing the ones who betrayed him, and obviously that's Commodus. And it's a very sad film. It's a very bittersweet ending. Don't want to spoil it too much, you know. But yeah, it's another one of Ridley Scott's crowning achievements. You know, after a couple of duds, you know, that's what happens with him. Not the most historically accurate, you know.
No.
People, that's what always people say about it not being a masterpiece. But I don't think the historical accuracy. If it's a good film, it's a good film. You know, you've also got a lovely soundtrack, one of the best of all time, and what Hans Zimmer did. Also working with Lisa Gerrard, and it's just shot perfectly, isn't it? The cinematography is amazing, and I mean, like Ridley Scott had a background in advertising. We were saying the other week, weren't we? And you can just see that. Yeah,
all of his films, you can tell that they just are perfectly framed, just perfectly shot, and they're actually, there's almost an art to the actual.
And you can really appreciate that, can't you? It's one of the I'd say forefathers of modern CGI. They use a lot of CGI, and obviously when Oliver Reed passed away halfway through, they were able to map his face onto another actor, use old footage and whatnot, and that was one of the first real times they ever used it. They built, I believe. They built segments.
It was a quarter of the amphitheatre in Malta when they filmed it. Yeah.
So they've done a lot of things for the film industry, but it's a film that just resonates with me because it's just about a guy he doesn't care about anything anymore. But
it's a common theme, though, isn't it? It's like your John Wick. It's like a guy who's lost everything, just doesn't care anymore about his own life. He just wants to get revenge on those people who've.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Maximus is one of the best written characters ever. Just the point where he only then lets himself, because he basically lets himself pass away once he knows like Lucius is dead, and like he knows that Rome's in good hands. It just shows the character of Maximus. But 100% Gladiator is my favourite epic.
And that they kind of backed themselves into a corner, didn't they, by killing him off? Yeah,
because we always hear about this Gladiator 2, but I don't know
sequel and how they're going to try. And
recently, it's had more traction again.
So on that note, another one of my favourites is Spartacus, which is kind of a similar. But again based on a true story about a slave who leads an army to overthrow the Romans, and again it has a sad ending to it. I'm Spartacus.
Who's Spartacus?
Longest Day. That's one of my favourite
war films. 100% modern,
which is about about D-Day. I mean, cast of characters that you've got in there: Robert Mitchum, John Wayne,
huge A-listers, doesn't it?
Most expensive black and white film ever made, I believe.
Yeah, really? Wow. Does not surprise me, to be fair.
And I think they made it in black and white so they could actually cut it with actual newsreel footage.
Oh, that's cool.
Footage from the time as well.
That's cool.
And they actually filmed it in actual locations where all these things took place. So, I think that's.
Any more, or you think?
No, I think so.
I think we covered all the big ones.
Any from you?
Would you consider The Bridge on the River Kwai a epic?
I think it is, because it's quite a long film, isn't
it? Another David Lean one. Maybe like I don't know how he topped it, but he did with Lawrence of Arabia, obviously. But no, it's a very good film. And obviously Alec Guinness puts in an Oscar-winning performance as well. If you're going to watch Lawrence of Arabia, you should also watch The Bridge on the River Kwai, because I think that kind of goes under the radar because Lawrence of Arabia, but. Yeah, definitely give that one a watch.
What about Star Wars? You call that an epic? Because it is. It's got all the themes of an epic film, hasn't it?
100%.
Redemption.
There's another genre in here where we could talk about.
Okay.
If there's anything you don't have anything else.
No, that's it. Nice. So let's spin the wheel again and see where it lands.
Right,
here we go.
Spin the wheel.
And it's landed on
Action.
Action, right? Okay.
This is our bread and butter. This is, mate.
Well, I didn't realise that I actually liked action films as much, because it was never a favourite genre of mine until I realised that the films that I've watched, I just look ones I've recorded and bookmarked as well. I don't know. I think probably, and I don't know if I'm gonna tread on your toes, but for me, the ultimate action film, because it is absolute bullshit, is The Rock. 100%.
No, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, 100%. No. Yeah, Rock.
No.
So got obviously. Okay, I can sum it up. It's a Michael Bay film. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, this idea that you got Sean Connery, who's an ex-SAS operative, he's been in prison without trial for how many 40, 50 years, and he's the only guy who ever ever escaped from Alcatraz. And then when a group of Marines, they're pissed off because none of their fallen comrades were given any compensation or pensions for their service. They take the Alcatraz hostage, and then Sean Connery has to lead a team into Alcatraz to free them, and it's just. And then you've got Nick Cage in there as this chemical expert.
Yeah, because they use VX gas, don't they?
And but it is fun.
Oh, it's brilliant film. You'll have a great time with this film.
It's not like, it's not going to be Oscar bait by any means, but like Cheeto says, Michael Bay. That's all you need to know.
Well, when you think of action, you think balls to the wall, like explosions, and it just has everything you want in an action film. It is absolutely brilliant.
Do you want to go with yours before?
Yeah, mine's been mentioned previously, but Die Hard. Yeah. I think Die Hard is I've heard it been called the ultimate action movie because it has everything you want from an action movie. And the reason why I say Die Hard is because Die Hard is one of those films that's been replicated many a time. I mean, Die Hard was obviously. It's like that one-man location against, and you have loads of films where you can say, okay, that's Die Hard on a plane, or that's Die Hard on a train, or whatnot, But yeah, we already talked about it, so we don't have to go over it. But Die Hard is.
Well, the thing is, as well, is John McClane. All right, is a New York cop, but he's kind of like an everyman. He's not a superhero.
At the time, you had Sylvester Stallone, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's not a muscle-bound
action hero. He's just an ordinary guy caught in a situation, and he just tries to get out of it, essentially.
And a great hero, you need a great villain as well. And Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman, I can't believe that was his it was his debut, wasn't it, in Hollywood? And I believe they probably went into the West End, because he was theatre trained. He was doing theatre at the time, stage acting, and they picked him. And literally, Hans Gruber is always on top 10 villains, or maybe even top 5 villains of all time. He's one of those villains where you don't like. He's evil, but you can't help but like him, can't you? Because he's just so. He's really funny as well, isn't he? And
there's humour to it as well, and like when he in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves as well.
Yeah,
great villain, and a lot of, because I think they let him actually rewrite his own lines, and so he brought a lot of humour into it as well.
And that's when you know how respected they are as well. But 100% is like I said, I just think it's the ultimate action movie, because it's been replicated so many times, time and time again. I mean, there's so many action movies. I mean, so many.
90s, was that the ultimate decade for action film?
90s, 100%.
Late 80s, 90s.
Yeah, leading in late 80s.
So you had like Commando and Predator, and those films, and then you had things like Con Air, Executive Decision. Just bullshit stories.
The two Under Siege films are our favourites of ours as well. Yeah, I definitely think 90s, because they carried the most tropes of action movies, and you had all the stereotypical action directors were in their prime at that point. Notable, I'd say. Another mention is I really love Transformers. When I was talking about Michael Bay, I was like, the first Transformers, the Michael Bay one, is absolutely amazing. But
Armageddon
is brilliant as well. There's so many. This is the thing. Action movies are the main genre of movie. That's what. So we're not going to try and list off every one. But
no.
Is there any you'd like to mention just before we move on?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. Okay, let's spin the wheel again.
Sorry if we missed out any movie you like, but like I said, it's there's so many films in there, and there's only one genre. Okay, science fiction action film.
Science fiction action. That's difficult because it's like we've already covered action and science fiction. I'd probably say Armageddon.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
It's just a bullshit story that this asteroid's heading to Earth, and the best they can find, NASA can find, is this group of redneck oil drillers. And so, rather than train, rather than have like highly trained astronauts train them how to drill, which you could probably actually get a probe up there to do it, couldn't you? No, they send these eclectic mix, shall we say, of people up there to do it.
Yeah, but
it's got the usual action tropes and the ending where the guy sacrifices everything, to save the world.
It's directed by Michael Bay and it's produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. So there you go.
So yeah, it's an unholy baby of theirs, isn't it?
But it's the thing. Even though people can be, it's like a run-of-the-mill action movie.
Yeah,
it's got pure emotion and stakes in it as well, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
And it just, I
think, like you say, for any action movie, you've got to be invested in it.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something about it that like you say, stakes that you actually care about. Because I watched action films, I thought I don't give a shit if they die. Or not.
Exactly.
But yeah, it does get you, and it's emotional as well.
And I mean, the absolute legendary soundtrack by Trevor Rabin as well just adds that. And even thinking about it, you want to tear up, don't you? But 100% Armageddon is up there, and it's only a film because I've only seen it about twice, but I've seen it quite recently, and it's a film I really do care about now, and I really do. I've grown on it, you know what I mean? Because it's I always used to think it was like a run of the mill, but no, I think it's. Like I said, having those stakes, having that pure emotion, you really care about the characters, and you care about the story as well, which is integral. Yeah. Right, so mine is Predator. Yeah. And it's a film, it was the first of 18 I watched.
When you were about 10?
Yep. Yep. So I've grown up watching this film. I'm a huge, as everyone knows, I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, and it is the most macho film ever made, isn't it? You got like the Dylan, you son of a bitch scene. But what I love as well is it's so much more than just like the run-of-the-mill action sci-fi, because obviously when you've got a very intimidating antagonist in The Predator, obviously played by Kevin Peter Hall, and he's what, 7'2", is he, or something like that? So he's huge. He goes invisible, so you can't see him. So he's the antagonist has already got an advantage over our protagonist, which is. Which makes you uncomfortable. It's in the jungles, which is once again
that fear of the unknown, isn't it? You've got something there hunting you, you know that, but you can't see it, and you've got no way of protecting yourself from that.
What I love though is they don't show the predator, you don't see the predator until quite far in the movie. So up until that, all you see is this thing stalking them, don't you? And you're like, what is that?
What do you see, Billy?
You should pick up a voice actor.
I know. Get to the chopper.
But no, it's got Carl Weathers in, it's got Jesse Ventura in, it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Testosterone.
Steve Blackin, you know what I mean? It's amazing. And what I like as well is once it's the classic, you will know who's going to be the final man. It's obviously going to be Arnie, but as they all get picked off one by one, Arnie has to go back to like man's almost prehistoric ways, primitive ways. He makes traps. He ditches everything and he sticks to crossbows and whatnot, and it really is. It's
that technology against like primitive weapons, and
it just makes it so much more engaging, doesn't it? And I mean exactly the ending. I'll tell you what, the actual ending scene is absolutely amazing because it showcases all of the traps Arnie's done and whatnot, and it shows his plan, but then it goes awry, doesn't it? And it just shows obviously that's when we first get to see the Predator take his mask off, and then Arnie goes, "What the fuck are you?" Or doesn't he? And yes, I just think it's the I think it's the best science fiction action film. Maybe I'm a bit biased because I grew up with it, but and also a brilliant score by Alan Silvestri as well. So
yeah. I actually thought you would have gone for Aliens.
Really?
Yeah.
I was close to, but I just
Terminator 2.
This thing I just was grew up with Predator, and I really love that.
Sort of notable mentions.
Yeah,
Terminator films again.
Yeah.
Arnie, Aliens, which is a completely different film to the original.
Yeah.
The original's more of a horror science fiction.
High tense.
Yeah, it's like The Thing. It's that claustrophobic, atmospheric film, whereas Aliens is again like a balls to the wall action film. Shot
midway through the 80s, so there you go. But they are very honourable mentions. So, anything else or?
No, I don't think so. Not from me. No. So let's have a spin again, see where it lands. What have we got?
Okay, family film.
Family films.
What?
SpongeBob Squarepants
movie. Nice.
That is a go-to, I think.
I remember. This is just. I know it's a little anecdotal. We were going to go shopping once, and we literally sat up to go, and then we saw SpongeBob movie was on, and we were like, "Oh, we'll watch like 10 minutes." We ended up watching the whole film, didn't we? And the Goofy Goober. It's the Goober tear at the end.
That will bring a grown man to tears again.
100%.
But yeah, it's just. I think I love SpongeBob anyway, but I just think the movie was great.
Yeah,
fantastic. The sequel not so good.
No. I mean, that's David Hasselhoff in
that. Exactly. But that's probably my one. I think
bigger boot, mate. You know what I mean? That's a scary scene. That is. I don't know what, because this is the thing. There's a lot of films that can be another genre that are family films as well.
Yeah.
Right. This has taken me a couple. I'd say about a minute to think, but I've finally thought of one. Stuart Little.
Yeah.
What a banger that is. Not that long ago, I woke up at like 4 a.m. I was like, I'm going to put on a movie, but I didn't know what to watch. And then I was just scrolling through Sky, and I saw Stuart Little. I was like taking a look around. I'm like, I'm going to watch the fuck out of this film. And it's so good. It's such a banger. Even at my ripe old age, I was 21 back then. But obviously it's a film. I was the perfect age for it when it came out. Yeah. And I've grown up with the film because it was very nostalgic for me. But I hadn't watched it for about 15 years maybe, and it's such a banger film, and it's such a feel-good film as well. And believe it or not, it actually has quite a lot of emotion and whatnot, and it's quite engaging.
What's that like an orphan mouse being adopted by a family?
Hugh Laurie and Gina Davis, mate. But no, 100% Stuart Little for mine. And this thing, there's so many other family films, but we were saying that they kind of maybe take another genre that's more.
We've got like animation. You've got Christmas films. A lot of them are family orientated. You've got like films like Beethoven, Cats and Dogs, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I mean, just loads.
There's so many, isn't there?
Just so many you can't list them all. So.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Let's go. Let's give it another whirl. And what have we got?
Western.
Western. Right. Okay. This is a genre that
this is Robbo's genre.
Again, I didn't realise how much I love westerns till I realised how many westerns I've watched.
Yeah. I've already got my answer, by the way.
Yeah. So. Well, I think yours is probably going to be the same as mine.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, actually, no, it might not be. Because I'm kind of torn between two.
Yeah.
I love the Dollars trilogy.
Yeah.
But I think my favourite western, and I think probably the best western of all time, is The Searchers, which is John Wayne.
That wasn't my decision.
No,
you said no. No, you go.
Was that your choice? Was it?
Oh right. No. You go ahead.
I love this film. It's probably John Wayne's finest performance.
Yeah. It's probably his premiere film as well. Isn't it?
Yeah. And again, it's featured on our our other podcast of greatest movie endings. It's such a sad ending to it as well. So I think that's probably one that I think is probably the best.
Well, now I haven't watched many westerns, but I'd say my favourite is definitely Unforgiven.
Well, that's my other one.
Oh, yeah,
that's
Unforgiven.
why I was kind of torn between that
and just the realness and the brutality of the film. And once again, it's almost about redemption as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's, the Western genre at that time was dead.
Yeah.
And nobody was making westerns, and Clint Eastwood comes along and makes arguably, I think, his best film.
Yeah.
And the best western, certainly of this generation, I guess. And like you say, it's gritty, it's raw. It shows, I think, the realities of, because a lot of westerns pre that, it was all about gunfights coming, and they were all it was all very clean.
Yeah. It wasn't very real, was it?
No, it wasn't. Yeah. But that could have been down to the production cost.
Yeah, maybe.
But
and also, obviously, Clint Eastwood, even though he directs, he puts in a great performance. So does Gene Hackman as well. It's also got Morgan Freeman in. So what is there not to like?
Yeah, and like you say, it's about kind of redemption in a way, and it's about maybe people who can't really change.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a fantastic film,
and I love the third act of the film as well. When he comes in with the shotgun, it's absolutely brilliant. And if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend, because it's one of those films you have to watch.
Well, I think that's kind of influenced a lot of films that have come after it.
Well, Unforgiven started the 90s Western craze, where there was a Western every week. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, it truly was a dead genre. Any more you can think of?
Tombstone, I think.
Yeah.
I would take Tombstone over Wyatt Earp. Any day. I would even say No Country for Old Men, which is kind of a neo-noir Western, I think. But there's a lot of films like that are kind of modern takes on a Western.
My favourite modern Western is The Revenant.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that film. Once again, that's about revenge, redemption, Also, apparently this film is considered Western, but Westworld.
Yeah, I can see where that is. Yeah, because although it's in,
it's still in that setting, isn't it? But there's like I said,
another one of my favourites, Magnificent Seven.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And so
even like I said, even though I've not watched many, I do have a fond appreciation, because at one point it was the backbone of movies, really, wasn't it? Westerns, and they were a huge part of the history of cinema, But is there anything else you can think of?
I think we've covered that, yeah.
Right, on to the next.
Okay. Sorry, there's a lot of dead air.
Yeah, we're just waiting
for the wheel.
Slasher,
well.
I think we're going to both have the same answer, aren't we?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I would say it's got to be Halloween, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Which is kind of the original slasher film. I can't really think of any modern...
I mean, I know like, people say Psycho is, like, the predecessor, but no, Halloween started off the slasher craze of the 80s, and even though it was made in 78, it still is the premier slasher film, isn't it? Of its kind. When you think of slashers, when you think of horror movie icons, you think of Michael Myers, don't you?
Yeah.
And
you've got so kind of maybe the big three or big four. You got Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and maybe Leatherface.
Yeah,
possibly. When you think of that kind of
Leatherface is definitely up there.
Yeah.
But I'd just.
But obviously, it's inspired other films like Scream and those kind of.
Well, like I said, it started the slasher,
and
craze.
Obviously spawned
many sequels.
10 sequels, maybe more.
This thing, I think Halloween is one of those slasher films where it transcends a slasher. It's because it's this thing. It's so simple, but it's so much more than what it's portraying. And how John Carpenter took a budget of $300,000 and made literally one of the greatest films ever made. Once again, we're talking about the thing about that tight crampedness that you have.
It's a common theme where you've got this kind of this. It's not quite a cut-off community,
no,
but it is in a way, and you've got this unstoppable
force of nature, really,
entity,
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's like Jaws, but
yeah,
and the thing, and so it's those kind of common themes.
How I can describe it is Michael Myers his body is a vessel for evil, isn't it?
And you've got obviously Dr. Loomis, who's that kind of the guy who everyone thinks is a bit crazy,
yeah,
but turns out to be right in the end.
And he's the only one who really is trying to stop him, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what I love is John Carpenter was able to make a whole town feel the size of a house or something, and just. He started that whole thing where Michael could be in a corner or Michael could be behind that piece of furniture, and it's just that it really does get your it's the thing that's scariest about Halloween is the things that aren't there, like
it makes very good use of light,
and
shadow.
Dean Cundy
was brilliant.
Was really started his career. When we talk about lighting, you talk about that scene where Laurie, she's seen the dead body, she steps back and ever so slightly you just see Michael's face illuminate behind her in the doorway, and it's just stuff like that. It's so effective. Also a brilliant, one of the best people talk about soundtracks, but that's one of the best soundtracks of all time. Obviously John Carpenter doing it himself, but 100%. There was only real one answer, wasn't there, for this? Halloween is the premier slasher, and like I said, like you said, honorable mentions. You got like the Friday the 13th, even though I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Halloween. You got like Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, Leatherface, but
I thought Nightmare on Elm Street was a good concept, so that you can't even hide in your own dreams, where you can actually die by going to sleep. That's it's
a very scary proposition, isn't it? But
but I think most, like you say, most slasher films now take their lead from pretty much from Halloween and other
formula
films
that John Carpenter set up. But no, on to the next one.
Okay.
Like I said, every time there's a pause, we're just waiting for the wheel. Animation. And does that play into SpongeBob for you?
But I think also I think it's probably going to be. I'm torn between a couple again.
Do you want me to go first, and you can think about it?
You can go.
Okay, so my one, because I was the perfect age for this, and two, because who doesn't love it, and three, I grew up with this movie. It's going to surprise quite a few people, but the Simpsons Movie.
No, that was one I was toying with. Yeah,
I love because we saw it in the cinema. I remember. I love the Simpsons Movie. Like I said, I was the perfect age for it. Grew up watching it, and I've watched it a couple of times on Disney Plus, and I love it as much as the first time I watched it. It's sort of like, because it came at a time where the Simpsons was sort of on its decline, didn't it? And then it kind of revitalized the series. But it's just so. It really, like, take the Simpsons away, it actually is a really good story as well, isn't it? And it has that same kind of like humour you might. My guy, Harry Potter, mate. But no, it kind of has elements of humour from that you'd see in like the 90s Simpsons. I think they really put out all the stops, and it's even the animation is much cleaner as well than how it used to be. But I think that's definitely
because I mean, we were waiting sort of. I think a Simpsons movie had been around, the idea for ages, for a long time, and then it finally came along. And I think some people are a little bit disappointed with it, but it's a good film.
I really enjoy it.
What I like is it's kind of also canon as well.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like a standalone film.
No,
because later episodes of The Simpsons refer to elements within the movie, and
you also see Spider Pig and whatnot, don't you? And it's just cool to see The Simpsons on the big screen, and I think it maybe a couple of years earlier would have been the perfect time, but I'm just, if they tried it now, it wouldn't have got any traction at all, really. So that's why it's on my list. What about you?
I'm going to say Shrek. I think.
Yeah. Which one? Number 1, 2?
The first one. Yeah. Because that was. He's kind of a little bit like an anti-hero, isn't he?
He is,
in a way. But again, it's a little bit about redemption and how even the most I would say horrible people can find love, because he's not essentially horrible, is he?
No.
He just wants to be left alone in his swamp.
And I believe wasn't that DreamWorks' first kind of film to combat Pixar, wasn't it?
Because then again, I was thinking about maybe Toy Story or even Monsters Inc., which I think is an absolute banger.
Yeah, they are. They're brilliant films, all of them.
Always watching. So I'm available for voice work if anybody wants. But yeah, I mean, there's so many good. I mean, Pixar, I don't think have made a bad film, have they? Really?
No, not really. No.
So yeah, there's just so many that you just can't really list them all, can you? And I'm not a big fan of Disney, I've got to say.
Yeah.
I find Disney a little bit too saccharine, too sort of too sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I prefer sort of cartoons that are a little bit subversive, well, a bit like SpongeBob and Shrek and that. You got any more?
Well, I was just saying with Disney, obviously, people are going to be screaming at us for not mentioning about any of the classic Disney, but we never grew up with that, did we?
No.
We always watched Looney Tunes instead of Disney, didn't we, and stuff like that. So that's the only way. Don't go. I love the Pixar stuff; it's absolutely amazing. But yeah, there could be so many. But I'd say honorable mention Shrek 2, because I love Shrek 2.
Yeah.
It's got a bang of a soundtrack as well, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you can't think of any more,
no,
we'll move on.
I think for that one.
All right, on to the next. There's only a few more now. Superhero. So I'll let you go first.
So I'm not a big fan of superhero films. I'm not a big fan of them. The sort of MCU and the modern DCU. It's just the fact that I think one film's enough for each character. I don't see the need to do like 50 films just to make money, because they know people are going to go and watch it. But I guess the first film I really remember seeing in the cinema was Superman 2.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go with the original Christopher Reeve Superman, because I think that kind of maybe revived the genre again.
I mean, if we just focus on what was before that first Superman.
Well, you had sort of the campy Batman series. You had the Superman TV series in the 50s. You didn't really have superhero films up to that point.
They're more like you said, TV series.
Yeah, I mean, you had so I think around the same time, late 70s, you had a few Spider-Man films, but they're nothing like obviously what you get nowadays in terms of the special effects. You didn't have CGI, so it was all practical effects. But I just think Superman, particularly the first one, the Richard Donner one, I think it's a really good film.
I think it's one of those films where for this film you don't even need to explain. It's Superman is the most iconic character, and it's one of as in terms of iconicness, it's the premier superhero film, isn't it? It started it all. It really did it, and that set up the foundations for even superhero movies nowadays. Maybe if it wasn't for that, for Superman, we wouldn't have the whole cinematic universes we have nowadays.
Because obviously they made 4 of the Christopher Reeve ones, but Superman Returns is a direct sequel to those 4 films. Yeah, I know it went through a bit of development hell to get made, but yeah. So without that, maybe we wouldn't have had Batman, Tim Burton Batman and the MCU.
It basically started a genre on its own, didn't it?
So yeah.
So brilliant pick. I think you all know what mine's going to be. This is a film I've said about a billion times.
I'm Batman.
Seriously, voice actors hit him up. Well, no, it's The Dark Knight. I could talk for hours. You know what I mean? I'm only going to say a bit, but Batman is obviously one of my favourite movie characters of all time. He's my favourite superhero, one of the most iconic of all time. Part of that list, that tier A characters of Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and it was at a time where superhero movies were almost dead, really. You know, for DC movies, you think about the campy 90s Batman ones.
Well, I think the first Batman I remember. I'm sure there was a 1930s like serial, like a weekly serial of Batman. And then obviously you had the 60s Adam West, which was just very, very camp.
It literally follows the same comic book formula.
Yeah, but then obviously with Tim Burton's, he tried to get, it was a bit darker.
I like Tim Burton.
But there's still that element of campness around it, particularly with the villains.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then when you get past the Michael Keaton one into George Clooney and Val Kilmer, then it really does get into that real campness.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's certainly what they're going for, because it's all about the campiness, and I think it really made, because Batman is the darkest character there is, and I think it really made a mockery of him. And then Christopher Nolan was at the time like really up and coming. I had a few good films behind him, but he was like, I want to make, because he was a huge Batman fan. He's like, I want to make a Batman film, a trilogy, and I want to make it my way. And you can't talk about the Dark Knight without talking about Batman Begins, which is your favourite. Because
again, it was like Batman was in development hell for years and years, and Warner Brothers, for whatever reason, they just put off making Batman, didn't they?
They seem like a terrible production company, don't they? But I think Nolan was like, no.
And lots of people attached to it, lots of scripts, lots of actors attached to it.
And I generally do believe Nolan was like, right, you're doing it my way or no way.
Well,
and
the idea behind Batman, the central premise is that you can become a superhero if you've got enough money. If you're a billionaire. But that's not the case, is it, with this one? Because obviously with Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne, he suffers a childhood trauma, goes off, trains
with Ra's al Ghul,
in sort of ninja skills.
So he puts time and effort into it, you know what I mean? And
the money helps him buy like expensive toys like the tumbler and everything else.
But he still puts in the work, doesn't he?
He's still got to put in the work, and he still suffers. I mean, I think the first time he goes out, he ends up getting injured, doesn't he? He gets stabbed, and he comes back with bruised.
So he knows the consequences, and he still wants to protect Gotham. But I just think that the Dark Knight heightens everything from Batman Begins. I know it's a bit easier because an origin story, you're kind of boxed in at some ways, but and I think it has other than Darth Vader, the best villain.
Did he always intend it to be 3 films?
Yeah, it was always going to be a trilogy.
Because what you tend to find, like George Lucas always said, I wanted to make 3 films. I couldn't make it, so I made the first film. So it's easy for like the first film to be standalone, and then you're kind of going, oh shit, I've got to make 2 more films.
Well, it would seem that because Batman Begins is very gothic, it's very, to be fair, it's a lot darker than the Dark Knight, but no, I think he always intended it to be a trilogy, but it just heightens everything, and obviously the characters had a whole movie's worth of development, even side characters like Commissioner Gordon and whatnot, it's just great to see them on screen. It's so well written, so well executed. Brilliant score from Hans Zimmer, one of my favourite of all time, and brilliant performances all around. Like I said, Christian Bale, he's one of my favourite actors, and he's brilliant as Batman.
I've got to admit, right, I put off watching because it just didn't really appeal to me. And then you said watch it, and I watched it, and I thought it was really good. And Christian Bale I've seen him in quite a few films now. Yeah. And he is like a chameleon. He does. I mean, I saw him. Latest film I saw him was in Vice, where he plays Dick Cheney, and you wouldn't know it was Christian Bale.
No, he looks exactly.
And the American Psycho, The Mechanic, all these things that he goes through to obviously he's full on method.
You can just appreciate that, can't you? You appreciate the hard work.
But he's a really good actor as well. He loses himself in the role, and he's totally believable. I think. Because I'm a little, maybe a bit of controversy, but I really didn't think Michael Keaton was a good choice.
No, I don't think he was either.
Because he came from like more of a comedy background.
Yeah, and you want a real dark, someone who can encompass that. You know what I mean? And then talk about the Joker played by Heath Ledger, and many people say that him being so method, because he went very method for this, and he even resorted to get to those to put in those performances, he even went to narcotics, and unfortunately, obviously, he OD'd shortly after, but people even said that he went to those lengths to go for that, and it's one of the most iconic. And it's the thing, the Joker's always been iconic, but he just implemented the Joker as an absolute legendary antagonist. You know what I mean? And he's so much more than an antagonist now, because he's got so many layers. Because he's basically the gangs. There's no crime now in Gotham because the gangs can't operate, and they hire the Joker to kill Batman, but he doesn't want to kill Batman because he's like, you make my life so much better, because it gives him something to do, gives him purpose.
They're kind of both different, like different sides of the same coin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that, good and evil, yin and yang kind of thing. Everything's in balance. So without Batman, he can't really exist.
No, exactly, and then Batman can't exist without
So it's that kind of codependency.
But it's got one of the best opening scenes in history in the bank heist scene, and it's got a very emotional ending scene with obviously Harvey Dent as Two-Face dying. Batman.
Spoiler alert.
Batman covering it up and then going into hiding for The Dark Knight Rises. But I could talk about for hours about this. So that's my favourite movie.
Never seen Ben Affleck as Batman.
No, I haven't.
No. Are you looking forward to Robert Pattinson? As the Batman? Yeah,
100%. Funnily enough, they call Ben Affleck's Batman is referred to as Fat Man because he's really overweight and all of them. So
any other? I got Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Spider-Man 1 and 2. I love them, and I'm a bit like, believe it or not, even though I do like the MCU, there's many films in it that I don't like, but the highlights I do like is the first Iron Man film. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, I'd say. So if there's any you don't, no, I don't think so.
And little special, even though it is Keaton, Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with that, and it's got Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Turbo Man?
If they could make that, I'd watch that if they make it in the movie. But we'll move on then,
next go.
Right, let's see. Oh, thriller film.
Oh. Probably one that I've watched. I don't know really, because there's so many.
I mean, you think about like very good directors and thriller films. You've got like David Fincher, Christopher Nolan. They're all brilliant thriller. So maybe any from there.
I was gonna say, would you say American Psycho is a thriller? Or is that more of a slasher film?
I'd call it like a comedy thriller. Yeah,
because it's a really odd film to categorise, because again, it's Christian Bale with a great performance, and again, we discussed this before as sort of film endings, but it's just a weird film.
Yeah, it is,
and I'm still no clearer on what was real and what was. It's one of those where you don't know what's going, because he sort of fantasizes about being a serial killer, and then goes out and starts killing people, but then in the end you find out that
those people are alive.
Some of the people that he's supposed to have killed are still alive, and some of the events that happened in the film may or may not have happened, and they may have only happened in his head.
Yeah.
So you're never quite sure what is real and what isn't. So I think that's.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant film.
Again, I only watched it recently. And it just was. I think it was an amazing film. Great performance from Bale again. Central performance.
And once again, it's one of those films where it delves into maybe mental health, doesn't it? There's obviously something wrong with Patrick Bateman, isn't there? And also, I love how it shows that 80s yuppie culture as well, doesn't it? They're doing coke in the bathroom and stuff.
That excess. And it that might have actually driven him to become a serial killer. That kind of greed is good kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Cut and thrust of like stock trading and stuff like that. Am I just talking bollocks?
No, 100%. Because the people that Bateman hangs around with aren't really nice people.
No, they're not. No,
that's all.
No, but yeah, I would say yeah.
Oh yeah, American Psycho.
Yeah, but I mean, there's lots of other ones.
Yeah, there's
I'll let you go, and then I'll.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, you can say.
Yeah.
Right. So mine is once again no shock, Inception. As well as it being one of my favourite films of all time, it's definitely my favourite thriller. Once again, it's a Christopher Nolan one, I must admit, but everyone knows. And obviously another Leonardo DiCaprio one, but just he said it took him 10 years to write the script or something like that, and you can really see it, because it is a totally unique premise, isn't it? About people going into someone's mind and then planting.
It's this kind of layers within layers, within layers, and you've got these things happening concurrently, and
the fact that the characters don't know if they're in the real world or they have a totem and whatnot, and just all this put together just makes for it's like a thrill ride almost, you know what I mean? Because it feels like you're really there as well, you're part of it, and I just think it's such a unique premise that you can really believe him when he said it took him 10 years to make, and it's executed perfectly. Got a brilliant soundtrack as well, and it got a brilliant ending to it as well. It's very, very sad at times, but it's also action packed. Like I said, there's thrills in there. There's a bit of banter between the characters. There's everything you want in a thriller film, really. I could sit here and talk about it for ages, but I'm not going to sit here and explain Inception. You got to watch it yourself, because I don't want to ruin it, and plus it's very confusing. So. I've also got a couple more. I'll let you go first, though.
Probably mine are going to be 7 again.
Yeah, 7. Yeah,
one, because that is it's quite a disturbing film as well.
It is,
particularly ending. Again, we've covered that in another podcast. Gone Girl, which was really fucked up film. I really, because it just starts off as a normal kind of film, and then it just then descend into something completely different. Like Cheeto says, you've got to watch it. What were some of yours then?
For a bit of the classics, I think Psycho is obviously one of the best. Like I said, Psycho's one of those films you don't need to explain it, because everyone knows how great it is. But that really started off. That is the premier thriller film, as in terms of iconicness, and obviously Alfred Hitchcock's greatest work. So Psycho's got to be up there for me. I also love Cape Fear as well. Cape Fear is brilliant. That's Martin Scorsese's turn out of thriller film. Shutter Island's brilliant as well. That's another Scorsese. There's so many thriller films. Once again, is another one of the backbones of film. So there's so many, but
I can't really think of any more that I would say. Like you say, there's loads. There's absolutely loads.
Yeah.
I think we've probably got time for a couple more.
To be fair, there's not that much left anyway. Right, war film,
right. Again, there's so many to choose from. Obviously, Longest Day is one of my favourites. Bridge on the River Kwai.
What's the premier war
film? Well, I would say The Great Escape. To be honest, because again, it's a bit of it's comedic elements, a bit dramatic, but I just love the film. I know it's based on a true story, but it's just one that I can watch over and over again.
100%.
And it's not the best war film, I guess, but I just enjoy it so much when I watch it.
No, it's a brilliant film, and it's quite tense at times, isn't it? As well, when you're seeing the scenes of them trying to hide the holes up and whatnot, and it's quite maybe spoilers, but it doesn't end well for them, does it? No, really, it doesn't, and but they still keep that spirit and whatnot. You know what I mean? You see Steve McQueen, he's still trying to get away, isn't he?
Yeah, and probably the greatest one is Escape to Victory.
What a banger that is, mate.
Yeah. If you didn't know what that is, it's stars Michael Caine and Sylvester Stallone, a host of footballers, including Bobby Moore, Pele, Ozzy Ardiles, Mickey Summerbee, and they're all prisoners of war that agreed to have a match against the Germans.
And then they escape after.
So it's like, yeah.
It's a very English film, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Stallone, he's an American, but he enlisted in the Canadian Army so he could enter the war, and it's just. But again, it's amazing because it's actually a John Huston film.
It is, yeah,
and just completely random film of his. But it's just a fun film, and it's complete bullshit.
But definitely, if you're a football fan, 100% watch it. But right, obviously you got the big ones like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I tell you what, my I don't know if it's a shock to people. My favourite war film is I Love Fury.
Yeah,
I think when I first watched it, I was just blown away by it. Obviously, it's a bit of a different take because it focuses on one regiment, doesn't it?
Just one tank.
Yeah, one tank crew. Yeah, and you see their what they do on a daily basis and whatnot. And it's got just the thing that heightens this film is that third act of when their tanks broke down and there's a whole unit of SS soldiers coming towards them, and they're toying whether to leave or and Brad Pitt's like, no, I'm staying, and then they'll decide that the crew, you can see the real tightness they have. They're like, no, I'm staying, even if they know they're going to die, and they hold off kill hundreds of Germans, and there's literally about 5 of them in this tank. And you see some of them make sacrifices and whatnot, and they literally fight to the death. And Fury's just so emotional, and it's just so good. But I've also got another one as well, which is literally one of my favourite films of all time, and that's Platoon.
Right, because I forgot about that, and I wanted to change my mind.
Oh, Platoon, was it? I'll let you go on about Platoon.
No, but it just, obviously Oliver Stone. It's actually based on his own experiences in Vietnam, because Charlie Sheen's character is based on him. And it's about a kid who drops out of college to go and fight, and everyone is like, why did you actually want to volunteer? Because most of them are conscripts. And it's just about his experiences in Vietnam, and it is raw and it's gritty, made on a low budget as well, and it's such a great film.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant.
But I completely forgot about that. Apocalypse Now, another great film. One of your favourites, Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah, I like Kelly's Heroes.
Clint Eastwood. It is a kind of a
comedy, a bullshit kind of like.
But it's about the perfect heist where they're going to actually rob a bank that's behind enemy lines
during war.
So they're going to get away with it.
Full Metal Jacket, obviously. That's Stanley Kubrick's
Full Metal Jacket
take on war. Yeah. But there's so many great war films.
Because I think most of the films that are kind of set in Vietnam, aren't they? Like We Were Soldiers.
Oh, We Were Soldiers, brilliant again. Yeah.
Modern, say, American Sniper.
Yeah. And that I like that because that obviously is Clint Eastwood, but that delves deep. That delves deep into after the after effect of PTSD and whatnot.
Well, there's so many great.
Like you said, Longest Day of the Epics back in the day.
What's the one about the explosives team? Catherine Bigelow.
The Hurt Locker. Brilliant film. Yeah.
The one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jarhead.
As well. Sorry, I just got my brain's just. But so many great films.
So many great war films in there. But 100%, it's one of my favourite genres. Got a couple more here. So.
All right. So let's do our 2 final categories then, if we can.
Oh, adventure. There's only one.
It's got to be Raiders of the Lost Ark.
See,
any of the Indiana
mine's Last
Jones.
Crusade, but it's got to be Indiana Jones, isn't it?
Indiana Jones. Well, it's action adventure. There's a bit of comedy in there as well. It's got everything that you want really in a film. What's not to like?
Yeah, 100%.
Professor of archaeology by day, adventurer by night.
It's definitely the premier adventure film. Because we've got there's quite a couple. Do you want to move on, or do you want to talk about Raiders?
Yeah, I mean, I would class Jaws as an adventure film as well. So a lot of people say it's horror, but it's still, I guess it's adventure.
Guys going on adventures,
Yeah. Any more can you think of?
Not really. I just think because adventure and Indiana Jones is just so synonymous with each other. I think I'll tell you what, because there's about 7 more.
All right.
If we just not go a bit deep.
All right. Okay.
Just
knock some out then. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
next one.
Oh, sport.
Again, Escape to Victory.
Yeah.
There's not been that many great sports films.
My favourite is a very recent film.
Yeah.
Rocky versus Drago.
Oh, yeah. Rocky. Moneyball. Like Moneyball.
Very good.
Although it's not typically focused on sport, it's more about the backroom stuff. But you don't really need to know a lot about baseball to watch it.
No.
Bull Durham was a film that I liked.
Raging Bull as well.
Bull,
Warrior is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Brilliant film.
Blindside.
Yeah, there's so many good. There's so many sports, isn't there? So
I watched a film Friday Night Lights, which got Billy Bob Thornton in it.
Space Jam, mate.
Space Jam. Yeah.
Right. Smashing foodies now. Biopic.
Ooh. I don't know.
I know you said about Vice, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of good ones. So many like Patton, Imitation Game, Theory of Everything, First Man.
Yeah.
Brilliant film. Amadeus. You could say Lawrence of Arabia is a biopic as well. So many to think of.
Yeah. Well, I'd say obviously A Beautiful Mind is one of my favourites. I really like John Nash. Revenant as well, about Hugh Glass as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're both into computers. He's a legend of ours. Alan Turing, obviously, Imitation Game, and also Hacksaw Ridge with Desmond Doss as well. There's really great biopics, isn't there?
Into the Wild. That was one that I watched recently.
Very sad film, but it's about Stephen Candless, I think his name is.
Goodfellas.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, Goodfellas.
Just
so many great ones.
Yeah,
like
Darkest Hour as well.
And obviously, you said about Vice, didn't you? As well, yeah.
It's a good film, yeah.
Right, on to the next. I think this is only. We're going to have both the same answer. Time travel. Back to the Future.
Travel. Yeah. Terminator.
Oh, that's good. Very good there. Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
There's quite a few. You think there's not that many, but I mean, you could actually consider Interstellar time travel in a way, because it's the way that time works.
I think though, Back to the Future is the answer, because that's what it's solely based on, isn't it? Yeah. I think Back to the Future is for that. Yeah.
Here we go. What's the next one?
Oh, fantasy.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Should we just say our favourite Star Wars one?
Well, Empire Strikes Back for me.
Return of the Jedi for me, but
Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
Films like Labyrinth. Brilliant films.
Yeah. Fantasy has got, but the films for fantasy are very strong, aren't they?
Yeah.
Last couple were.
Okay, last couple.
All drama.
I've
my favourite drama film is and it's a bit samey, but it's Shawshank Redemption as well. So you're going to pick?
I don't know really. There's just so many. Again,
you've got like the Green Mile as well, and whatnot. You know. Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, Manchester by the Sea is the most depressing film ever.
Any Casey Affleck film, probably.
Gone Girl.
Yeah. Brilliant films, and once again another backbone of cinema.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 4 left now. Okay. So. Okay, crime.
Gotta be.
Godfather.
Goodfellas, Reservoir Dogs, probably one of those two.
Godfather.
It's not. I wouldn't really say it's a. Yeah, maybe.
Well, I did have I did put gangster on it. But I was like, crime and gangster are the same thing. So we're just going to say we count that. Yeah.
Ocean's 11 as well. So
I'd say mine is Goodfellas, probably.
Yeah.
What about yours? What's your favourite? If crime and gangster,
I would say Goodfellas.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah,
nice,
definitely.
Right, 3 more.
Okay. Where's he going to stop?
Or one of the backbones of cinema, comedy.
Comedy. Oh, I watched this last night. Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
What a banger that is.
Tommy Boy, Hot Rod. I love all the kind of super bad film that is completely bizarre called Strange Wilderness about hunt for a Bigfoot.
It's so funny though, isn't it?
It is. But I just love those kind of irreverent comedy films.
I'd say my favourite of all time is one of the most iconic ones, but it's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's got to be Ghostbusters for me. But yeah.
Okay, let's go.
2 more.
Yeah.
Right, so black comedy.
Comedy. Right, this is a film that a lot of people shit on. Cable Guy. I love that film.
I've never seen it. So.
Yeah, and it's just, I think it's one of Jim Carrey's best performances because he's trying to kind of leave behind the Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber roles, but it's brilliant. I just think it's a really good film.
Well, black comedy for me, you've already mentioned the comedy bit, but Planes, Trains, that is a bit of a black comedy, isn't it? You've also got things like Doctor Strangelove as well, like the proper classics, but just for anyone that doesn't know, black comedy is sort of a comedy that starts off that you wouldn't expect it to really be a comedy, would you?
No, it's kind of dark elements to it as well. So the themes might be around, death or sort of unsavoury elements. There's a film that I remember watching called Throw Mama from the Train. I think it had Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito in it.
Oh wow!
It was kind of a comedy version of Strangers on the Train, where they both agree to commit a murder for each other.
Okay,
and funny film like that.
Planes, Trains for me.
I think.
And the last one is Mystery. And I've won already.
I don't know. You go first.
JFK for me.
JFK.
Absolutely brilliant film,
Yeah. So, how about Sixth Sense? Zodiac?
Yeah.
Gone Girl, Gone Baby Gone.
7. Psycho.
Yeah. And Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, of course, like Scooby-Doo films as well. I'd say, like I said, JFK for me, but there's also a couple like Memento as well. You've got Shutter Island, The Prestige. And just little off topic. I forgot a couple of movies that I love on some of the genres of The Matrix for like thriller, and then Fight Club for drama. So I just had to get that out there because that was going to burn me up inside. So.
All right. So what's our last?
It's done.
Well, we're done. All right. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that.
We certainly did.
Yeah, it's a bit different. I don't know if we might try something similar.
Maybe do it with actors, directors, maybe
podcast, possibly. But next week we're going to be doing plot holes. So hope you join us for that. All that's left for us to do is say thank you for joining us and goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.